Thank you, Acting President. Tonight I rise to speak on a topic close to my heart, the Australian Grand Prix, held right in my community of southern metropolitan Melbourne at Albert Park. And President, in doing so, I highlight the annual report on the Australian Grand Prix Corporation year for 2021-2022. Acting President, I was on the steering committee for the Grand Prix way back in the day, so I know much about what this event means to Melbourne, the culture, the tourism, the economic benefit, and just having a great time by all. It is no secret just how lucky Melbourne is to hold the Australian Grand Prix, nor is it a secret how lucky Formula One is to have Albert Park as its backdrop for the Australian leg of the World Championships. I was lucky enough to enjoy the 2023 Grand Prix the other week, and what a time it was. For several decades, the Australian Grand Prix has been a cultural fixture, not just for my neck of the woods, but for the whole of Melbourne. Last year was a reminder of just how important the Grand Prix is for cultural institution, after generating some $92 million directly into the economy and raising Victoria's GDP to the tune of $171 million. Unfortunately, we couldn't hold the Australian Grand Prix in 2020 or 2021. However, the wait was worth it. In 2022 and 2023, we smashed records. With almost 420,000 people in attendance in 2022, we showed the world that Melbourne is truly the place to be. The 2022 Australian Grand Prix put Melbourne tourism back on the map. The annual report notes that the government figures estimate hotel occupancy peaked at 90%. 90%, and that's mentioned the Ernst & Young estimate that the Grand Prix boosted the state's gross domestic product by $171 million. It is also estimated that this event supports 734 annual full-time jobs, and the circuit build and dismantle alone created more than 2,500 temporary construction jobs and more than 400,000 hours of work. The Australian Grand Prix Corporation also used last year's record-breaking attendance as an opportunity to showcase Victorians' regions. Hundreds and thousands of people were exposed to breathtaking imagery from the Grampians, the Yarra Valley, Phillip Island and the Great Ocean Road. The 2022 Grand Prix wasn't just notable for all the records that it broke. The 2022 Grand Prix also represents a step closer to a greener future for Formula One. In accordance with the Australian Grand Prix Corporation's Green Prix strategy, 8.1 tonnes of food was donated to community groups, keeping it from being wasted. There was a 27% decrease in single-use water bottles, thanks to the investment of the water bottle refill stations and messaging. The Formula One broadcast area was given 90% emission reductions makeover, thanks to the change from steel mesh to e-mesh, a 100% recyclable material. Additionally, a carbon compensation program was established in 2022, with funds going towards accredited climate action projects. The report notes that these projects were chosen by how their economic and social impacts fare against unsustainable development goals. The Andrews Labor government is a proud supporter of the Grand Prix, which is why last year we fought to keep the Grand Prix on the shores of Albert Park Lake. With the current contract set to terminate in 2025, it is the Andrews Labor government that ensured that Melbourne and Victoria will hold the Grand Prix for another 12 years. Sydney might try their best to get it, President, but I don't think they have a shot. Albert Park has proven that it's not only the true home of the Australian Grand Prix, and the Labor Andrews government is so happy to keep it that way. As an upper house member for the region encompassing the track, I am so happy to keep it that way. It is safe to say that the annual report on the Australian Grand Prix Corporation 2021-2022 paints the picture of a cultural institute that overcame challenges thrown its way to come back stronger and steady and ready for the future. As the Minister for Tourism, Sport and Major Events in the other place, Minister Dimopoulos said, no state does major events like Victoria. Our calendar events are unparalleled. They provide a massive boost to the economy, around $2.5 billion each year. This report shows the Australian Grand Prix is not just a race, it's a jobs for Victoria, it's pride for Melburnians. It's a reminder that this is a cultural epicentre of Australia. I recommend the report to the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Berger.